We are broadcasting live from Tsibo Building, the head office of the Provincial Treasury in the Free State. My name is Lorato Khomolemo and I'm your host for the day. Welcome to the Financial Literacy Program. Now, in the past couple of weeks, the MEC for Treasury in the province, Khadija Brown, has been speaking on a number of platforms about the financial literacy program. And we are here to officially set the ball rolling and teach the communities of the Free State about this very important program. I am joined today not only by the MEC but by various stakeholders who have pledged their support to this very critical program. Let me start with the MEC. MEC, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Lorato.
How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. I've got a room full of individuals from the private sector, in the financial services sector, so it is wonderful for all of us to be here today.
That is fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about financial literacy. Why is this program important for the people of the Free State, and particularly to your department?
All right. Very exciting and very passionate about it. It's something that I think the team wanted to do for the past 3 years. We have been doing it in fragments over the past 3 years in various forms and shapes. And we found that the purpose and the objective of such a program has got four key outcomes. The first is that we're finding ourselves in a very difficult economic environment, not only as a country but across the world. And not only is it due to the geopolitical tensions that we are seeing and the changes that we are experiencing, inflation, but it's also due to the change and the education that happens around new products, new innovative ways of dealing with money across society and the world. One day you wake up and you find yourself looking at digital currencies, at cryptos, at trade, and then NFCs, and you're still kind of like catching up and you're trying to figure out where do I fit into this. But also we're dealing with an economy that's slowing down, and how do I then make the right decisions given the current economic environment, and where are the opportunities? But bringing it back to the layman and the person in our communities who has got a small income, 350 Rand, and how do I then, outside of a social club, look at other ways of finding a mechanism to save, to stretch my rand, to ensure that as we as a family work together, that we tighten the belt. Those are some of the questions that families are asking. But largely, Lorato, my passion is for society as a whole, the greater Free State, the greater South Africa, but mostly for young girls, mostly for women, because it is that part of our demographics that still lives under a very patriarchal environment. We still make decisions based on what a husband is determining for the household, or what a partner is determining for a household. Yet we have women that are leading households, and do we make the right investment decisions? We usually as a woman invest in our communities and our families and our cousins and bigger families, but how do we look at making decisions for sustainability, longevity? And that is why we've asked partners to come on board and help us, because we've got those representatives in the market, and they'll introduce themselves, that are qualified, that are professionals, that have concluded their phase exams, that have concluded FICA aspects, that understand the regulatory environment in the financial services sector, that really allows for such conversations to happen in the most professional and responsible way. But lastly, I think as a Free State, and part of what our Premier is achieving and trying to do, is to create an inclusive environment where we deliver more impact to our Free State society. And I was advising the team earlier, Lorato, you
Yes.
were not in the boardroom, that Financial institutions do this education on a daily basis, but in their little corners.
Yes.
And we touch the same people.
Yes.
And our communities are confused. It's the same thing, but where do I go? How do I go? How do I have more access
products.
to this information? I want to talk about the products, but how do I get more access to this information? And to be staggered across all parts of the financial sector society, it's very difficult for them to come together and do research, whilst we as Treasury can coordinate that under one umbrella. And then lastly, on products, I had also advised the team that we are not going to discuss products.
Yes.
Because products is just a solution. What we want to deal with is education. We want to understand, how do we determine the doctrine? How do we make better financial decisions? If we're earning an income, how do we live within our means, and how do we prepare ourselves for the good times and the bad times? So it's really about the education. The products is a positive
Topic.
aspect that comes out of the education. And of course, ladies and gentlemen and Free Staters, as you are listening, this information is recorded. It will be placed on our websites. The team will provide you on the screen all of our social handles, but we will also ensure that every single partner that is here today will have access to drop their information, and you'd be able to have access to them as and when you require further information. So yes, that's the objective. I'm very excited. We are a team, we're holding hands, we are not competition, we are all in the same sector, but we are together, and we want to deliver to you, the Free State, a product that is going to help you make better financial decisions. It is going to be a financial literacy program, and at some point we want to say that we want to be financially, economically free. Thank you very much.
MEC, just as a follow-up to that, I know we have a room that has about 7 or 8 partners that have joined us and who have committed their services to making sure that this program is a success. But talk to us a little bit about the importance of partnering with the corporate sector. Why was it so critical that that government does not do this alone, and you bring on board people that could hold your hand and whose hand you can rely on?
Absolutely. So as a government, we provide the regulatory and the conducive environment for any project, any mandate to work. The vision and the focus and the mandate of a provincial treasury is to support our communities, but largely local governments and provincial governments, to make the right decisions from a governance perspective, a compliance perspective, and of course a responsible perspective. But part of our mandate is also to ensure that we are able to solicit sufficient resources within the fiscus of our country and our province, and tax is one of the ways. Changing monetary policy is another way. The level of inflation could be one type of lever that we could utilize, but also the manner in which our minister, through his budget speech, deals with the tax requirements, that it could also deal with how we bring in funding into the coffers of government. The challenge is that we find is that we have got less taxpayers. We have an economy that is not vibrant because we don't have sufficient cash or cash at hand to be able to buy and consume what we usually buy and consume, for many reasons. For a challenging economy, COVID was part of it. I mentioned geopolitical tensions, which affected oil prices, which affected trade, which affected inflation. So, and that has given us interest increases that have been crazy over the past couple of months. I'm feeling it. I can't imagine how the regular person that earns a salary is experiencing how much that takes of your disposable income. So why the private sector is because government is not necessarily in the position to advise exactly where the tacky hits the tar. We are not able to say, okay, make a decision where you can fix your interest rate at this point, or be at a position where you can consolidate your debt, or be at a point where you have to knock off certain non-critical aspects of your income and expenditure statement and find mechanisms to tighten the belt. I cannot provide that support to any individual within our society because I've been out of the sector for too long. I need to catch up on my RE exams, I need to catch up on my FACE. So we've had to call on key professionals who are relevant in the market, who have the most relevant and fresh and available professional advice for our society, and we cannot do it alone. We cannot do it without the private sector. So I need them as much as you need government to help you determine that regulatory environment to churn this economy and ensure that your market share is created amongst the communities that you live in.
You know, when you speak about institutions and their importance, the girls and I have a joke that nowadays when Ntatele Sechakganyago speaks, you have to listen.
Yeah.
Because he's going to change your life in a way that you would not have planned.
Absolutely.
But the minute he speaks, we have to do something. Whether it is your expenditure, whether it's the car or the house, something will change.
Yes, of course.
And you have to alter just your normal livelihood.
Absolutely. So I want to actually, on a lighter note, the soccer player who invested all of his money with his mother so that when he went through that divorce, the lady couldn't receive all of the part of the assets. I think, you see, those are the type of investment decisions we need, you know. So, and financial decisions that we need. But largely it's just to make the right choices and to understand your own very circumstances. And it is so personal to everyone. We want to zone in, just outside of the broader picture, but we want to zone into your personal current status. You know, you could either change this, deal with this balancing of scales in two ways. You can either work very hard and get a promotion and earn extra income, or you find that you reach a plateau in whichever way you in work or in your proprietorship as an entrepreneur, whatever it may be. But then this part of the scale needs to change, and how do you change that part of the scale? And then broader investment on net asset value, on wealth, how do you then look at that? But that's still long in advance. Right now we're just starting off generically. How do I start with an income statement? What is my income? What is my expenses, and what do I do to manage my household? We're going to start there, and then later into the series we will look at all those exciting other things that very clever soccer player had done.
I know how passionate you are about this, but let me take it away from you a little bit and speak to Ntate Thapelo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Are you well?
I'm well, thank you.
That's good to hear. Now, MEC has touched on a number of things, and I know one of the aspects that we want to develop and reach is the SMMEs in the province. You know, their investments, doing business correctly, making sure your finances and your people are paid on time. But why is this program important to Nedbank?
Sure. Thank you so much, Ausilerato. And first of all, I'd like to thank the Honorable MEC for arranging that all the financial institutions are in one room. And for me, that's really heartwarming because it means that we've got one common vision to really change the lives of the people in the Free State. So at Nedbank, our purpose is to use our financial expertise to do good for all individuals, communities, businesses, as well as societies at large.
Right.
And then you can actually sense that when it comes to empowering individuals and businesses, that is very close to our heart. So for businesses in particular, the programs that we've designed at Nedbank are there really to, number one, help the jockey, which is the business owner themselves, to make the right financial decisions, because in that way they'll be able to understand how to run their businesses well. And over and above that also, it is to ensure that our programs also lead to an inclusive financial system where the individuals get to understand these financial concepts that emanate. Not everybody has the opportunity to understand these financial jargons, like the MEC has mentioned and alluded. So our programs are really quite crucial to really bring everybody to this level where they can get opportunities accessible to them. And that is then how we found the development of our programs could help SMMEs.
Right. MEC, I know that I asked Dr. Tapelo about SMEs in particular, but who's our target audience? Let's talk a little bit about our target. Who do we want to reach?
It's Lerato and Palisa and Tapelo and Khadija and Benny and, but in any sphere, they could wear multiple hats. They could be wearing the hat of the breadwinner in the home. They could be wearing a hat of a board member, a worker, a general worker. They could be wearing a hat of Magogo at home, who has saved up a little bit to keep a family going. It could be anybody and everybody. But what I'd like us to do is, in the program and in the segments over the period, we want to invite partners such as Destia on board, Department of Economics, Small Business Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and maybe some other key strategic small business development entities and agencies that will talk about financial management within proprietorships and businesses. That will be long term, but that requires the program to then unfold in that way. But for now, due to the mandate of Treasury, and that is just this, every single individual that has to pay either tax or receives an income, or has to do Operation Batala and go pay the rates and taxes or whatever it may be, it is that person that we want to talk to and explain the reason that we do pay a rates and tax, and why we have to be on an indigent register, as an example, or why you want to do a social or society club. Yes. And how that then affects a stokvel. Yes, how to fix your home at the end of the term that your stokvel has then. What's the redemption of the stokvel, when it's concluded. So those are some of the aspects, but it is generally for every single Free Stater and South African, or everybody listening. But we will have segments. We will talk to SMMEs. We will talk to people in different sectors. We will talk about trusts. We'll talk about personal trusts. We'll talk about business trusts. We'll talk about having a business property and how you could then make an additional income, because then it affects your personal income. So it is that entire value chain. It is a story that we're going to be talking to, and it's largely about educating the ebbs and flows, whichever journey you are about to embark on. Some people don't even invest in property anymore. They invest in currencies and they make a great deal of money, and that's the type of conversations we'll have across the board, both at a vertical and at a horizontal level, and look at an entire ecosystem around financial education.
Great. Mel, can we talk?
Yes.
Let's chat. You are a financial institution, obviously, and every day you reach people. You have an institution that is full of help, that offers help to people. If this program had two legs and it could walk, which parts of this province, where would you want it to reach as Standard Bank?
Well, let me start by saying the reason why I'm wearing pink today is because I think I shouldn't have to wear blue and be here as a bank. I am here as a professional that is I am obligated to take my knowledge to the streets.
Right.
And it shouldn't be attached to the name that you come with. You know, people should be able to walk into any place, whether it is Nedbank, Absa, FNB, the Pink Bank, whichever will come tomorrow, and have that freedom to say, listen, I have started my first job. What do I do? I'm suddenly earning an income of 20,000 rand a month. And I don't know what to do. All I know is I'm supposed to send money home. I'm supposed to pay my rent. I'm supposed to buy groceries. But what does this mean? You know, it is for that student that has now been accepted at university. And now suddenly, they've never budgeted. They don't know how the groceries were bought at home. Now they have to run their own household. They now have to manage their own transport costs. What does this mean? And suddenly these students are getting money paid in from NSFAS, these big amounts, and they don't know how to manage that. You know, it's about the person that has suddenly gotten the courage to walk away from their day-to-day desk job, and they've got this idea and they want to turn it into a business.
Yes.
How do we empower that person? Because they often have the skill for that business, but they don't know finances. They know how to do plumbing really well, but they don't know what it means to have an income and expenditure. They don't know what cash flow means. They don't know what it's supposed to, I'm supposed to pay salaries at the end of the month. You know, how do we empower people that even if you are a one-man business, that you feel you have an entire team standing behind you? That's who this program should go to. The mom that's budgeting, come every January, she's trying to make miracles to buy school clothes because the kids have grown over December.
Of course.
You know, 2 sizes up, you can't even recycle those clothes. You know, so how do we empower every single person where they can't wait for this program to come on to say, you know what, today I'm tuning in because I want to start a business, but I've never had the courage. I've never known where to start. They now know where to go to find these resources.
That's true.
That is who this thing must run. It mustn't even walk. It must run out there and catch everyone that it can, because we've got so much knowledge. We've got so much expertise just amongst us sitting here. What good is it if it stays on this panel?
That is true.
It's got to run out these doors.
You know, I should tell you, when I started working, I didn't know I had to change my bank account. And I think on the 3rd month of me receiving my salary, somebody from the bank called and said, we see a consistent number of money, of an amount that goes into your account at a particular time in a month. We believe you get a salary. I said, yes. They said, you're not a student anymore. I didn't know. So I think it's an important lesson, what you're saying, because a student would not know that once you get a salary, you have to upgrade your account because there are, you know,
It's levels. The young people
come
want
on.
levels. Yes, so how do we take them to those levels? It's graduation season.
Yes.
Are we talking to those students, or are we just clapping hands for them walking across stage, yet we are not empowering them to show up and be budget proud, you know, budget conscious, you know, make the money work for you because you've studied forever.
Ready too.
Yeah.
And I think budget ready too, because a lot of young people are not budget ready, you know. So I think that budget ready conversation is going to be critical as well for the young people when they ultimately go to another level, as you said. MEC?
Yes. Hey, I like this, right? I like it a lot.
MEC, let's talk a little bit about how long the program's going to take. The conversations are flowing nicely. Someone at home is saying, I'm hoping it's not for the next 3 months and it goes away.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's not for the next 3 months. Oh, there we go. So let's talk about how long this is going to take.
Yes, thank you, Lorato and team. It's going to be an annual program. So for the rest of this financial year, we are running the program every Saturday between 10 and 11 o'clock. Am I right? 11 and 12. Is it 11 to 12? Okay, 11 to 12. Why? We needed everybody to wake up and get themselves ready with their pen and paper. Gosh, we must wake up earlier. But 11 until 12, every second Saturday, there will be a show that will be flighted on the various social media handles. and every second Saturday you will have a different topic. So I urge the team as we prepare, because today is just a discussion session, but going forward we will have an agenda with the dates and the times, so that the interest and the topics, so that the interest for certain type of topics or matters that is crucial to that individual would be able to diarize and keep their diary open for that time every second Saturday. So coming live from Free State Treasury in Tebo Building, and then every district in our province, we bring to you Financial Literacy Free State.
Beautiful.
Thank
Let's
you.
take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to start dealing with the technicalities of financial literacy.
Good day, my name is Sahamiti Tai. I'm the accounts manager from Vodacom, looking after public sector. And you might wonder why Vodacom. People know us as just a cell phone and a SIM card, data and airtime, but we are actually more than that. So as Vodacom, we've positioned ourselves very well. We've moved from the normal mainstream that people have known us, and we're calling ourselves as telco. And then within that, we have financial services as Vodacom that we can actually provide to our citizens here in Free State. So we commit ourselves to the Department of Provincial Treasury here in Free State to bring up those solutions that we can teach our citizens across the Free State province. So thank you.
My name is Tapelo Tsiu, and I'm from Nedbank. And our commitment to the Free State government is to provide financial literacy programs from children to the youth, to the individuals, and also to small businesses on a variety of financial literacy programs that we have on hand, and so that they can be able to make the right financial decisions, adopt the right financial habits, and be able to make sure that they look after their households, they can look after their businesses as well. So that is our commitment, and we are proud to be working with the Free State government on this program. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to the Financial Literacy Program. We are still at Tebo Building today with the Department of Treasury. I think we have been speaking. It's a beautiful conversation that we're having. You would swear we're not talking about money. But yes, we are discussing your rands and cents and how to utilize them effectively. MEC, let me start with you. We've been talking about the stakeholders and the partners that we've brought on board. But you have also said we've extended the relationship beyond just the corporate sector.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah, it's very exciting because not only are we looking at commercial banks that are our partners, but we also have independent financial service providers. We have the financial sector at large, financial services sector at large, so the likes of Old Mutual, your Sanlam, Discovery. I mean, Pick n Pay does a little bit of a cash send and
even have a home loan
investment and home loan. So does PEPS and the rest of it. So the inclusivity really is to say that we want to allow everyone to have access to this conversation. It shouldn't just be about a product, but it should be an educational conversation. So having stakeholders like Winnie, who is an independent or private financial services provider, she has to find a way to break into this market share that corporate SA has, and then all of these other entities in the rural environments and in your urban and other areas. How does she get to do that? But Free State provincial government, as it is and as it does best, is allow for equality and an equal platform for everyone to come on board and really showcase what it is that they've got to not only offer but to provide from a knowledge, experience perspective, and also to ensure that despite where we are at, who we are, which demographic we'd like to talk to, it is open to all of us. So yes, I'm very excited about that too.
I'm happy. While we're talking about that, let me make Winnie jump onto the conversation. Winnie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Laura.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Are you well?
I am well.
Beautiful. Let's talk about financial literacy. Somebody says, what is financial literacy? Let's simplify that for the layman on the street. What is financial literacy?
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much to the Honorable MEC for the inclusivity, and I think I'm so proud to be sitting here and representing those up-and-coming FSPs in the Free State.
Women.
Yes.
You must not leave that out. Women.
Yeah. So absolutely, financial literacy, I would say it's the tools, fundamental tools and skills that every society needs in order to understand the financial concept, whether it be a budget or their spending at home, whatever it is. So it is those skills that are fundamental in society that are needed for us to understand. You know, some families don't even have a family budget.
Right.
Some families don't even know how to read their own financial statements. I meet a lot of clients that I say to them, well, have you interrogated your bank statement? When was the last time you saw your bank statement? And it's like a blank moment because we so much rely on those texts that are coming through notifying us.
Yes.
But do we ever take the time to scrutinize what is it, who is actually deducting from my bank statement? Because you'd find that there's a lot of those debit orders
Transactions.
that you have never authorized, and that's a good 500, 600 per month that you could come back to your pocket. So all of those, that is financial literacy. Understanding your finances, whether it's a budget or how you spend your money. Some of us, we just know that we earn an income, we have liabilities, we have debts. But how do we look like in terms of numbers? We're not sure.
That subject about debt is going to be very interesting. But interesting enough, when you spoke about the family budget, I saw Tate Mahlomela take off his spectacles. I thought to myself, is that throwing him off? Tate Mahlomela, how are you?
I'm good enough.
Are you well?
I'm well. thanks.
Yeah, I see she's making you think about family budgeting.
No, I do it every day.
You're coming from Old Mutual. You are as important as, you know, it's very funny, I should say, MEC, I don't think people knew that so many financial institutions could be in one room and they could be speaking about one subject, working together, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The fact that, and I think we should commend the provincial government through your department, the fact that we've been able to bring all of these financial institutions and many other partners, it is a lesson to many of the companies that your office would want to bring on board to say, if we have one common goal, And we want to do this not just for ourselves, but for the communities of the Free State, our people, normal citizens out there who need this knowledge.
Yeah.
We are able to do that, you know. So I think you all just deserve a wonderful round of applause. I could do it right now. But let's talk about the role, Dr. Matlomela, if you could come in. Let's talk about the role of financial institutions when it comes to financial literacy. You know, there's banks, there's financial institutions. MEC just talked about the private, the FSPs. We need comes from that part of the world as well. So this coming together, the role of financial institutions concerning financial literacy.
Okay. Thank you very much again for inviting us and putting us in under one roof. And MEC, I think you made the right choice to invite the private sector. We have the resources to do consumer education. Thank you very much for that. Well, the role of financial institution, one, as financial institutions, we are mandated by the Financial Services Code to spend a portion of our net profit after tax for consumer education. And when we do consumer education or financial literacy, it should be free, and we should not be punching products. And when we do the importance of doing financial literacy, it helps people to get into the habit of charging down debt. It helps people to get into the habit of saving. You can only do that if you go through financial literacy. Yes. And what is important with financial literacy again is the banks, the financial institutions, when they do this financial literacy program, they have the monitoring and evaluation so that we can see if this financial literacy is changing people's behavior. The reason why we do this program is to change people's behavior and their attitudes towards money. Because if you don't know how to relate with money, you will never have financial freedom. That is the role of the banks or financial institutions, to make sure that we change our attitudes towards our finances.
MEC, I think Dr. Matlomela is bringing a very critical aspect, the monitoring and evaluation part of it. We're doing this for a year.
Yeah.
What kind of change would you like to see this bring in the lives, whether it's the livelihood of SMMEs or just normal people in this province?
So as a treasury and as a government, we'll look at two aspects. We'll look at the macro environment. So we would look and analyze, given the outlook and the economic outlook that we do have during our budget speech, which we've just concluded, to see what consumer behavior is like. And understand consumer behavior. We do have indices and tools that help us. For example, car sales indicate the level of expenditure within any society. The average medium house prices or house sales then give us an indication of what a consumer strength is within a society, despite the challenges that you may see in the economic environment, or you may understand from a socio-economic environment. So as we enter this program, we have got Stats SA and analytics that talks about the trends in consumer spending at this point. And at the end, or let's say after every quarter, we'd like to see those generic trends. So we know population sizes, we know demographic figures, number of males, females, youth, people living in rural areas, people living in the under the poverty line. There is so many different mechanisms and tools to be able to analyze consumer patterns. And given that, we'd be able to, on a quarterly basis, look at these consumer patterns and say, okay, perhaps this literacy has affected a certain level of change in that consumer pattern. And we trust and we believe that with the work that we are going to do is going to not only change consumer patterns, the savings levels within our society, the payment of rates and taxes and services in our society, but also to make the right choices when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur or investing or buying a property or a vehicle, and the guzzling of petrol that's affecting your back pocket. Those are all indices that we will be able to see and understand, and we can analyze that. And at every quarter, and I would like to appeal to the team who is assisting with the organization, is that we can have a bar chart or some sort of type of analytics that we can present at every quarter of our session and talk to how we want to affect the thinking and the change after this program.
Especially with, I think, some of the reports that we also get from Statistics South Africa, you would be able to mesh that and see how that can be affected as well.
Absolutely, and it's a broader socioeconomic profile that doesn't just take certain matters, but it's all encompassing to make and help us as a government make the right policy decisions
Yes.
and budgeting decisions going forward.
Beautiful. Now, while we're talking, let's talk about whose responsibility is it? I am 19. I've just graduated. I have just received my letter of appointment for my new job. I have no idea what a salary is. All I've ever received is an allowance from home. Whose responsibility is it for me to be financially literate?
Well, I think it's a joint responsibility, because oftentimes everyone wants to shift it to somebody else.
Yes.
It's the bank's responsibility, it's my employer's responsibility, it's my parents' responsibility. It's really about coming together. If you are an employer and you are going to appoint somebody, have you got someone in the room that can have that money conversation with them before they ever even get that first SMS? It's about husbands having conversations with wives about the home budget. A woman shouldn't only have to find out what the money matters of the family looks like after the funeral. Because that's what happens, is suddenly the woman is now faced with having to handle the family budget, and all she's ever done is gotten allowance to buy groceries.
Everything in the household.
It's about parents having the conversation with kids and starting with something as simple as, I'm giving you 10 Rand pocket money a week. Are you going to spend the whole 10 Rand? Are you going to save 5 Rand? Are you going to, what are you going to do? So we must step away from this thing that the money conversation belongs to those that have the money.
Right.
We must start talking about it long before you ever have that first Rand in your hand, because by the time that it comes, it mustn't shock you, it mustn't change who you are. You must already have the confidence to say, you know what, I've now got this letter of appointment. Someone somewhere in my life has had a conversation with me, and therefore I know I need to go to the bank and ask if I can speak to an advisor, or I need to go to my priest and ask him to pray for me that I don't spend this money in one space. So it's really about how do we partner together that everybody takes responsibility. Because then if you take responsibility, you own it. If somebody tells you what to do, it's their idea. If you sit together and you own the plan, it's ours.
Yeah.
So it's everybody's responsibility in the room, and those that should also be in the room must come to the table.
So you're saying the conversation in my house about tag money must change?
It must change drastically very quickly.
We're going to try work on that.
We must give our kids a calculator in the grocery store so they can add up all these Kinder Joys that they throw into the trolley and understand what that means for the budget. That's where financial literacy starts, on the simple small things, not the big budget items, small steps.
Okay. Tag money it is. Tabelo, why is it important, financial literacy?
Thank you so much, Lerato. I was listening to my fellow panelists and also the Honorable Minister, MEC, apologies. And then for me, honestly, how I have viewed it is that financial literacy is not only the responsibility about the one delivering it so that it can be understood. It is also the one receiving it so they can apply what they have taken, right? And one thing I really loved what the Honorable MEC mentioned was we have many different communities across the country, some rural, some urban, some in the middle, and it's really about also the institutions offering it to be cognizant of that, so that we can be able to be accommodative. And that Mahlobo mentioned about the roles of institutions to be able to be more relevant to the different communities receiving this financial education, because ultimately it's not necessarily about the delivery of financial literacy or education. It is about really the change of behaviors. There's a wonderful book by James Clear titled Atomic Habits, and there is really taking on a journey about the importance of the habits, building the right financial habits. But you can only have the right financial habits if you understand the financial concepts, if you understand what you need to do, if you understand what the budget is, how to draw a budget, like my friend next to me mentioned. So financial literacy goes all the way from those providing it, those receiving it, and those who then need to apply it, and those who are applying these concepts in their lives, doing the saving, doing the budgeting. They are also seeing it as a lifestyle, and they are able to influence their household members, and it becomes a lifestyle in society.
I like how you gave us a book to read
Oh, thank you.
and did not talk about your product.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So after this, we have a little note to do in terms of the book we must pass by exclusive books and get for ourselves. Thank you so much. Let's quickly run to a break. This conversation is flowing nicely, I think, with, as a province. And I think one of the greatest things is that we are setting a tone for the country with this conversation. And because it's going onto media platforms, you cannot say it's for the Free State people alone. Someone who is in Mpumalanga is going to have access to this information, and this is why it is so important. But let's run to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more and learn more on financial literacy.
Hi everyone, I am Melissa Romain from the Standard Bank Group. I am incredibly excited and I feel very privileged to be part of this program. We are here to help you to stand in front of your money and show it who's boss. We are here to partner with you so that you can take money and own it, and for money not to be your boss. So we're excited for all the programs that are coming, and we're hoping that you will not only tune in by yourself, but that you will bring your entire family, bring your friends, turn it into a block party, and let's show money who's boss.
My name is Mahlomela Mashwen, working for Old Mutual as a learning leader. I am giving my commitment that we will support this financial literacy in partnership with Free State Province under the Department of Treasury. We will make sure that we bring everything that we have to ensure that people of this province, they benefit from this program. We have a program that talks to youth that are not in education, youth that are at universities, TVET colleges. We also have a program for people, community members who are working and not working, and people who are working, even those who just started at work. We have a program that will make sure that they make informed financial decisions when it comes to spending their money. I am committing myself to this program wholeheartedly. Thank you very much.
Welcome back to the Financial Literacy Program, where we are speaking about your financial wellness and ensuring that your financial needs are met. We've had a very solid conversation with our panelists. I think it's been a beautiful afternoon of learning. I now know that I need to use tuck money properly and have better conversations with my daughter about her money as well. But I'd like us to nicely wrap up this conversation and just have our partners tell us what we could expect in the next 12 months or so of us moving and working together. Thapelo, can we start with you?
Oh, thank you so much.
Tell us what we can expect from Nedbank's side.
Yes, so at Nedbank we have created financial literacy programs right from the children, school children, and they are really, really awesome. And also for the youth, we have programs dedicated to them, and also all the way to individuals. And also just to touching on individuals, we also have realized that majority of especially individuals who have got their 9 to 5, some of them haven't really captured the thought of alternative streams of income.
Right.
So I've created a program where they could sort of see the importance of side hustles. All right. And then from there, for businesses and small businesses, we've created a couple of programs, and you'll see some of them are about how to really bank cost effectively as well, how to build a healthy relationship with a financial institution, how to write a business plan, how to start and run a small business, and the list goes on. And also, I've heard the Honorable MNC also really passion on the young people and also the women as well. And internally, the bank has invested a lot in its people to really empower us on understanding what we call the life moment strategy of a woman. Okay, in terms of if maybe they have, their first child, what are the financial implications? If they are going to, maybe they're a single parent, what are their financial implications, so that we can be relevant when we are ready to then provide those kinds of programs. So we are quite committed with regard to that. So that is sort of what is coming from our side.
I'm happy. Talking of women, Winnie, you're a woman. Women look at you today and say, it's beautiful to have her on stage, but what is your commitment to women? I think, like Thapelo was saying, there's a need to change a lot of young women's lives. What is your commitment towards that?
So on a day-to-day basis, I work in the retirement planning space.
Okay.
So I interact a lot with women and also men, but mostly I find that my client base is mostly women who are going on retirement. And most of the time when I sit with her and we're doing the financial coaching phase of the financial advice, we talk about the family dynamics, and usually there's a girl child involved, there's a grandchildren involved, and so there's the value chain. I believe that in our society, most of the time, women are the custodians of financial education in our household, because MEC mentioned the macro level, which is our economy as a free state, but we also have a micro level, which is our individual households, and women are the custodians of the economies of their households. And I believe that I'm ready to empower those women, because if I do that, I know that 5 people will be affected. The woman in the household would be inspired to say, how about we set up a family budget? How about we look at how we spend our money? And therefore, how about we look at how do you spend your tuck money or your, NSFAS money, things like that. So it's a lot of commitment that I'm bringing on board in terms of women and children.
Yes.
And that space is my excitement space. I get very excited. For me, I need to see testimonies. Usually in my day-to-day job right now, I need to really see tangible change. When I meet a client, I need to see that this lady has moved from point A to point B in her financial, understanding, and I can see it. And that for me is a testimony, and it's a win.
Beautiful. Your counterparts. in the corporate sector who have not come on board yet, what would you say to them?
The door's still open, guys. I really think this is an incredible opportunity. And if you are sitting there with all the knowledge and you want to call yourself a professional, best you show up here and ask for a slot. Because our people need us to share this knowledge. It's no good that we are highly professional, highly qualified, and we are not having conversations around the dinner table. We need to have these conversations around the braai. We need to keep on sharing this knowledge. If people in your own friend circle don't know what you do, best you start there.
Right. Yeah. Dr. Matloman, let's wrap it up with you. Your advice to Free Staters concerning this program?
That's a great one. Look, financial literacy is not about, it says it's not about what you earn, but it's about how well do you manage what you earn. So if people can come listen to our programs, they will learn a lot and they will be able to change their lives for the best. Thank you.
MEC, your final thoughts?
I am super excited. I think my passion is being relived among so many streams and a large network. I think that the entire Free State and South African society as a whole will benefit immensely from this program. It starts from the young me, when you're really sitting with any trauma, you go back to the youth and the young me. And to be honest, I also read a book which was a financial wellness book for women, or financial decisions made for women, and that changed my entire mindset on how to purchase, how to make the right financial decisions. So this can only benefit every single one of you, all of us at every segment, and I'm looking forward to having the details, zoning in to topic by topic so that we could really unpack and really talk about the detail, and that is where the excitement will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
MEC.
to you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, MEC. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for joining us. We have been talking financial literacy, but this is the inaugural program. We are going to be coming back, talking more, having subtopics, diving into the nitty-gritties, the simple things, the big things, the things we did not know. It's time to learn, and it's time to prioritize our financial health and well-being. Don't forget to follow us on the different digital media platforms that are available. You'll see them on the screen. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Lorato Khomolemo. Thank you for allowing us to come to your screens and help you count your rands and cents. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Wow.
My name is Winnie Kamolani from WinPro Financial Services. I'm a financial advisor from an independent financial services provider. I cannot wait to take part in this program initiated by the MEC of Treasury in the Free State, and I am committing myself to really indulge with financial literacy when it comes to women and children, especially in the retirement planning space. There's a lot of discussions that are to be had in that space, so I cannot wait to interact with everyone on this platform. Looking forward to everything. Thank you.